Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good morning. Good day. I don't know where you are, but
Good morning.
Good morning.
hello. Oh, look at so many of my friends are here. Hi, Monica. Oh my gosh, it's great to see you. And hello, all my new friends. Welcome. Wow, there's 60 of you already. I had 315 people sign up for this. Isn't that cool? I've done like live webinars and stuff with Network for Good or Bloomerang or people like that. And so there've been a lot of people who sign up for those, but this is like my first workshop that I'm kind of doing totally on my own. With your help, here we are. We're going to learn. How many of you have been to a workshop with me before? Yes, many of you. Okay. So it's very workshoppy. It's not like a webinar where I'm just gonna, like, someone is talking at you and it's boring as hell and there's just a bunch of slides and you can kind of like email people as you're doing it. Anyone else? I'm so tired of those. Okay. Welcome. If you're just joining, I'm Julie. I'm so happy you're here. Introduce yourself in the chat. Say hi. Who are you? What's your role in fundraising? Where do you work? Thank you, Corey. I see you. Yeah, who are you? Where are you in the world? Grateful that you're here and spending time with me, with all of us today. Yay, Connecticut, Los Angeles. Hi, Danielle. Great to see you. Oh, look at everyone. Wow, from India. Awesome. Welcome. Hi, Marcus. Good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Bree. Erica. Oh, this is a great group. Wow, I am just so excited. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thanks, everyone. So let me share my screen. We can jump in. So welcome. You are at the Bold Major Gift Strategy for 2023. And some of you sent me some really great questions beforehand. And not a lot of them were strategy related. Oh, you're like, man, my biggest fundraising challenge is my board sucks. Or like, we have this goal and somebody else set the goal and or you're like apologetic about what you're raising money for. I'm just going to be real with you. That's how I roll. Is that good? Can I be real today? Can we all be real? For some of you who don't know me, I'm Julie. I am the founder of Courage Lab. It's a 6-week program that will change your ever-loving life. And it is designed to help you raise major gifts and get the strategy and the courage to do that. I've been doing that since 2018. My clients raise a lot of money and double their individual giving revenue in record time in what they think it's going to take years, and it takes months and weeks. Typically people raise, they double their investment in day one, week one, month one. There are plenty of Courage Lab alumni in here. You guys introduce yourself and say what's up in the chat. I have my own podcast. Anybody listen to the podcast? It's really fun. And I am a major gift strategist. So I work with you and help you come up with a strategy. I'm all about strategy. I'm all about courage. I'm on a mission to help people get the courage and the strategy to raise more money. That's me. I've been doing major gifts for 13 years now. And I have a lot, I've had a lot of failure and a lot of success. So, I have a few ground rules before we start. And that is, please be fully present. If you're trying to do other stuff, like this is for you. This isn't really for me. Like I'm doing this for you. So put your phone away, stop looking at your email, just decide to show up. Show up for yourself. Can we do that? Put yes in the chat. Yes, I will do that. I will show up for myself. I decided to show up today and sign up for this workshop. So I'm going to actually show up. I get it. Your to-do list is long. Believe me, I get it. Okay. Just be present. Just decide you're going to do that. Sound good? Great. I got to let people in this waiting room here. Here we go. Get to the heart of it. So I'm in this workshop. We're going to go through strategy. I'm going to be open to answering your questions, and I'm going to be like maybe helping you and being prescriptive. And we might have a one-on-one chat if you decide to unmute and be brave and go for it. Please get to the heart of the matter. Some of you are really long-winded. You're long-winded with me. You're long-winded in your emails with your donors. And that's why you don't really get many replies. And you'd probably raise more money if you just got to the heart of the matter. Hey, will you give $10,000? Please practice getting to the heart of the matter. Can we do that? Say, hell yes, in the chat. And then the third, which may be the most challenging, they're more challenging as we go. I'm encouraging you to be solutions-oriented. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things that are outside of our control, right? Maybe who's on the board is not within your control. So let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what we can get done. Jacob says, heck yes, Christian charity. Thank you for the laugh, Jacob. Can we agree to be solutions oriented? Put in the chat solutions. I'm going to be solutions oriented. I am a solutions oriented leader. If you need to say that to yourself, go ahead and do that. Maybe the reason you are not raising enough money is because you see the problems and you're expecting somebody else to bring you solutions. That ain't working. Okay. And last but not least, P.S. I reserve the right to interrupt you. So some of you are going to be long-winded anyway because you don't realize it. So I'm going to help you and just say, hey, so I'm going to stop you right there. What's your question? Well, it all started when I was nine years old, Julie. And, and it's like, okay, we got to get to the heart of it. So that's it for that. Put in the chat what you are hoping to get out of this time together. What are you hoping to get out of this? What are you hoping to walk away with? Put it in the chat. Renewed focus. I like that. Looking forward to a 12-month major donor plan. Yeah, right on. That's what you're going to get. John, you're going to get that one. Strategies to get donors to respond. We might be able to touch on that, but that's what I do in Courage Lab. If you aren't getting people to respond to you, you need to sign up for Courage Lab. We can't solve every problem today. We just don't have time, right? But today is about strategy. I will answer some questions about that stuff, but donor communications, how to make the ask. Some of you want to know how to make the ask, but this is not a how to make the ask workshop. So you need to get inside Courage Lab because that's what I teach you how to do. Engagement plan. Yes, Lindsay, I got you. Recommitment to forward movement and creative approaches. I like that. This is great. strategy and that Julie kick in the pants. Well, that's nice. Well, yeah, I hear you. It's great. I got you covered. So I want to make clear that a strategy is not the same thing as a plan. So some of you are like making plans, thinking that you have control over your fundraising results. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You can have a goal. You should set a goal. So do some of you have your goals put? Yes, I have a fundraising goal. I know what I need to raise, whether that's this calendar year or whatever fiscal year you're in. Great. A lot of you have goals. I love that. Put in the chat what your fundraising goal is. If you're in the middle of your fiscal year, just put the goal. Please don't tell me a whole story about how you've already raised this much and you have this much more to go. I'm asking you what your goal is. $1 million, 6 million. Are these your personal goals or is this your organizational goal? I'm asking, how much do you need to raise personally? Do you know what that is? For this quarter, 10K, that's great. 850,000, 500K, yes, 1 million individual. Love it, Allison, love it. Carly, 5 million. 200K, great. 1 million, 250, 3.7, woo. Okay, $60 million campaign. Does that make anybody else want to throw up? Okay. Like $60 million. Ah! Yeah, 1 million. This is great. So everybody pretty much, your goal is 6, 7 figures. That's awesome. Okay. So your strategy is about what are the objectives that are going to lead my theory is it will lead to reaching this goal. Strategy is rooted in some sort of theory. So it's much less certain than here is a plan with a to-do list, right? We love certainty. We love it. So we're like, let me build a plan. Well, you can have a plan, but it may not be very strategic. Anybody? Has that maybe been the story of the past? Let me write out all these things I need to do, and that will raise more money. So I'm going to share with you, you're going to love this. Okay, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Okay, we're going to go through. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So you need to click the link. This is a copy of, you're going to get a copy to a template of my dead easy major gifts fundraising strategic plan here. Okay. And I maybe I should share my screen. Should I share my screen? Yes. Okay. I'm seeing heads nodding. Lindsay says yes. Okay, Lindsay, you got it. You got it, Lindsay. Okay. We're going to walk through this together. And does everybody have that open? You have it open? Did you make a template of your own? Did you copy it? Isn't that awesome? It's such a cool thing. I'll send you the hack later, how you can do that. I make templates a lot, so it's great for me. This is based on my own fundraising strategy for myself. Okay. So it's not mine, but it's based on that. So I personally raise money for News Story. We're building solutions to create affordable housing for vulnerable families. So that's what we do. Last year, I raised around 2.5. They're still calculating exactly how much cash, but 2.5 million. And my goal this year, so my goals are 3 million in pledges and 1.5 in cash. Do you Some of you might only raise cash. If that's you, put cash in the chat. Some of you might do pledges and cash. If that's you, put both in the chat. Yeah, a lot of cash. Yeah, so it's great to know what you actually need to raise in both pledges and cash. If that's you, you should have a cash goal. Create one. Great. Let's say you have that. Here's my theory. If I connect with more high net worth individuals and ask for higher amounts in Q1 and Q2, I will raise more than I did last year, which is roughly 2.5, and build a pipeline for future major donors. Sounds like a solid theory. This theory is based on my experience and where I'm at and the organization where I work and what is needed and what we've learned over the last 12 months. Here's my North Star. Does this help me raise 3 million? No, then I'm not doing it. Now, many of you who sent me questions, you don't realize that what you're asking is actually about boundaries. Like what you actually need is better boundaries. You don't know how to say no. You don't know how to sell internally what you need to prioritize with your boss, with whoever, right? I had somebody say like, oh, I'm wasting all my time being pulled in all these different directions because all these people want me to do all these different things. And this person is not a director or a leader, I don't think, in their organization. Yes, you will get the recording, Nicole. And some of you just need to say, hey, I'm not going to be going to this meeting because I have $3 million to raise. And this isn't going to help me raise $3 million. Is this resonating with anyone? Yeah, totally. And some of you just need to tell them, hey, I'm not going to go to that thing. Hey, you're empowered to do this thing. Great. So here are my objectives that are rooted in this theory and that are going to serve my goals. So again, this is based on my personal strategy for this year. Build pipeline, one-on-one meetings, and events. That's how I think I'm going to get to 3 million in pledges, 1.5 in cash. So I'm going to walk you through my thinking on these things. So what's happening right now is we're in a recession. And at News Story, in particular, a lot of our donors are in markets and in industries that are being hit disproportionately by the recession. So they're in tech and they're in real estate. And so I really need to build a pipeline that is going to be like new leads for this year and for years to come. So we're not in the position we're in now. Because fundraising, particularly major gifts, is a slow cooker. It's not a microwave. Some people are going to move faster than others, but it takes time. Bree says, preach. I've had to tell some folks internally included to fall back quite a few times to keep my focus sharp. I love that. And that's going to help you raise more money. I had someone go through Courage Lab who had been doing fundraising for 20 years. And she's raising millions of dollars. And she worked at a school and she had people coming into her office all the time interrupting her. And I was like, hey, why don't you put a sign on your door that says I'm not available until this time? These are my office hours. She just arbitrarily created office hours. And then a week later, she closed a $100,000 gift. And she came back to Courage Lab and she was like, oh, wow, who knew that what I really needed was boundaries? And I was like, I knew. Oh, some of you think like, oh, I need this, I need that. Oh, you probably just need to say no. If that's you and you know it, put it in the chat. I need to say no. I'm going to say no. Put it in the chat. You got to get real. And you got to get real with yourself first before you can get real with somebody else. Yeah. And Meredith, you know what? It's great that you're a team player, and that's awesome. And so you're just going to feel uncomfortable a little bit, but you're not responsible for other people's problems. Like, other people have jobs too, and they need to do their jobs. This is great. Look at all these people who need to say no. Damn. I don't know what you need to do. North Star. What's the North Star for you? If it's not within my strengths, if it's not going to help me raise whatever my goal is, I'm not doing it. Maybe you need to look at your calendar and be like, this is not helping me raise money. Do an audit. What are the things on my calendar that are going to help me raise the money? And then renegotiate those things. Hey, this project, I think it can wait till next year. And if it can wait till next year, then maybe it can just wait and never get done. Yeah, Nicole. So when you only have 2 full-time employees, you're going to want to do everything, and you can't. So you can't raise more money and start social media strategy and do all these events and run your program and. Does anybody else relate to that? You have got to focus. What are the things that are mission critical? What is mission critical? Not what have we always done, and so we got to keep doing that. Yes, Bree, 1 page. Yes. So let's get back to strategy. This is your North Star. I don't know what your North Star is, but maybe you need to write that down. So for me, because of the situation that we're in, we need new donors. We need a new pipeline. So I'm lucky I have a prospect researcher. He helps me, but I didn't always have that. That's a new thing for me in my career. So the majority of my career, I was the prospect researcher. So you're going to need to learn how to be able to identify new leads. If that's you and that's a position that you're in, many of you think that you need more donors, and you probably don't to get to your goal. Some of you do, but some of you smaller organizations, you have people who are not giving their best gifts, but you're too chicken to ask them for more. So you think that you need new donors. This is hitting too close to home. It would be nice to be like, oh, let me go focus on new people who are like the new gushy people who are so awesome that are just out there somewhere. Oh, nope. Nope. You got to learn to love the one you're with, babe. That's right. Put all the chickens in there. Put the chickens in the chat. Be like, you know what? I have been chicken up until this point. And that's why I focus on new donors, because I'm too chicken shit to go ask somebody who gives year over year over year over year for a much bigger gift. That's why I created a program called Courage Lab, because we're scared, which I understand. But, that's not enough reason to not raise more money. So how many of you need to build a pipeline? And that would be on your strategy. Put pipeline. So I'm going to walk you through my thinking on this. The first way that I build a new pipeline is I get referrals from current donors. So what that looks like is I go to the people who give the most, who are our biggest fans, who are most loyal, most generous. And I say, hey, I'm really looking to identify this type of person, whatever it is that's your type of person that you're looking to partner with. We're looking to partner with people who are wealthy, who are philanthropic, and who might be interested in solving the problem that we solve. Right? And then, do you know anyone like that? So you could leave it open-ended, but here's what might happen. If you don't have a super strong relationship with that person, it might be too much of a lift for them to think about who that might be. So another way to go about this is use LinkedIn and take a look at their network. Is there anybody in their network that you want to meet? Ask specifically, hey, Claire, I saw that you're connected to this person. Would you be willing to make an introduction? I think that, based on what I can see, they really care about ending homelessness. Is this making sense? Great idea. Thank you, Allison. I'm full of them. Does this presume that this helper is giving to the max? Not necessarily, no. You have got to go on a hunt, right? You've got to find these people and search for them. And you have to be relentless in doing that. So maybe you do hire someone to help you with prospect research, but I would start with the people that you have and ask them for help and tell them that you need their help. And you know how you do that? You say, I need your help. Some of you just can't be straight up. I don't know why. I'm not sure. I don't know. Please don't write this person a long ass email and just get to the point. Be like, hey, look, I saw you're connected to this person. I really want to meet them. I want to see if there's interest. I need your help. Will you make the intro? There's your email. There it is. You're welcome. I love retired donors, Nancy. Retired donors are great. Retired donors are who I would go to first. If they don't have LinkedIn, you could sit down and you could ask them like, hey, can we go through, can we talk about who you think might be interested in getting more involved or being associated with us in some way? No, you don't have to have pro. So then and they're like, who are you looking for? Great. Well, because I'm focusing on recession-proof industries because of what I already told you, right? I'm going to say, I'm looking for people who could give, at the level that you give, or I'm looking for people who are philanthropic, who are wealthy, and who live in these areas or live in this market, and basically are part of boring companies, like companies that are not that are recession proof, right? And they'll say, okay, I could already go and look for that in LinkedIn and offer up some suggestions. If you do that, if you say, hey, here's 2 people that I saw you're connected to, and here's why I want you to make the intro, would you be willing to do that? They're going to say yes. They should. If they don't say yes, 2 things might be happening there. They might not have the best experience giving to your organization, but they're really forgiving and full of grace with you. So they're willing to endure the bad experience, but they're not willing to introduce their network to you. Yeah. Or they just, there's a lack of trust there. And that's something you're going to have to address. What do I read to stay on top of business trends? Market Watch is great. I have a lot of people in like the tech world, so I read Morning Brew and I get that subscription. I get Google alerts on like my top 20 donors, and I'll just peruse through that like every other week. But if I'm going to reach out to somebody or write them an email, I usually Google them first to see if something's happening at their company, to see if, you know, they just laid off 12,000 employees. Great. So that's build pipeline. So I'm saying that I want to identify 100 new donor prospects and that they kind of fall within this criteria. I don't actually know if I need to identify 100 new, like that would be great. But even if I got 60 or 70 or 50, frankly, that would be awesome. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, if I don't get 100, I've failed. Do you get that? One-on-one meetings is how I'm going to do that. I've learned how to have meetings. I teach people how to have meetings one-on-one, and that is the best way to raise the most money. You learn a ton about people in one-on-one meetings. So that's what I'm going to prioritize. That's where the 6- and 7-figure gifts are. So I'm going to do 75 of those, which is not a ton of meetings, actually. It's not that many for a whole year. And I think I've already had 5, so I have 70 left. Yeah, Beth, you'd like to see samples of proposals. I understand that you would like to see that. That's something that I provide for clients. I could definitely help you with that. And then I'm going to submit more 7- and 6-figure proposals. So that's part of this, right? That will follow up this one-on-one meeting. And I'm going to email meaningful updates every other month. Now that could be stories and impact data, and it's primarily going to be that. But it could be like, hey, I just saw that you got nominated for this award. Congratulations, thinking of you. Here's one thing that's exciting that's happening. You know, we will get to the engagement tracker and fill that out together. I don't want to go too deep into ideas and stuff because we'll do that in a minute. But one-on-one meetings are how I'm going to really get there. And then my next objective are events. And this is really the way that I use events right now is to ask a couple of donors or advisors or board members or whoever has influence to host something in their home. So yeah, I'll create a list of like, who would I want to host something? And this is primarily to actually help build the pipeline. So it does a few things. It strengthens the relationship with the donor who's hosting. They are taking greater ownership of the mission and the organization's success by hosting an event. And it introduces you to new people, to referrals. Excuse me. And then I put an in-person gala. I mean, yeah, we're going to do that and it'll probably raise some money. It will. But it's just not what I'm thinking about day to day. I'm not thinking about the gala. I'll probably invite a lot of people to that. But it's not the primary way that I'm going to get to this goal. It's going to be this right here. So other objectives, instead of these, it could be, It could be more events focused. You could say we're going to do quarterly events. We're going to do a quarterly virtual info sessions or State of the Union, or you could do something like that and see how it goes. You could go more board member heavy and say, okay, I'm going to meet with all of the board members one-on-one in the first quarter of the year. And I'm going to talk with them about their network and who they think could be interested or get more involved, and then follow up with those people, right? That could be an integral part of your strategy. Or it could even be like one board member, like that could be in build pipeline. You could add that. You could say, this is something we cover more in Courage Lab, is like, how do you engage your board in major gifts fundraising beyond just making the ask? So you could include that. I see some questions in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna go there now. I am forgetting about you. I've also had folks say they just aren't close enough to contact to where they're comfortable doing so. Yeah. And in that case, you could just do cold outreach. You know what? That could be, you could change pipeline to cold outreach. And you could be like, I'm going to cold contact, message people on LinkedIn, email people, DM them on Instagram, wherever they are. 10 people a week for the first quarter and see how many leads I generate. You could do that. That could be part of your strategy. It's not mine, but I'm going to go with more warm leads. But I know my organization. I know my donor portfolio. I have like 100 people in my portfolio. So, and a lot of them have been giving for many years. Some of them are newer. But if you don't have that, you need to do cold outreach. That should probably be part of your strategy, is just cold outreaching. There are lots of things you could do to learn how to get better at cold outreach. And maybe that's something you need to do. Okay, Corey says, how much time do you spend on lapsed donors in your pipeline building? That's a great question. Corey is the one that's raising 60 million, I believe. Corey, do you want to unmute?
Sure.
Hi, Corey.
Hey, Julie.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm the sad sap who's raising $60 million. Yeah. not all of it is major donor base.
I see.
A good chunk of that's going to be foundation.
Yeah, understood.
Right. Yeah.
So what have you been doing in terms of lapsed donors and building the pipeline?
So, typical, kind of stuff in terms of looking at live bunts and either, sending them direct.
Can you share what a live bunt is for maybe those who don't know that?
Donated last year, but unfortunately not this year. As well as then looking at people who have donated sometime in the past, but not this year.
Yeah.
I tend not to look back further than like 4 years. I feel like if it's been 4 years since we've had any kind of meaningful contact, it seems like a waste of time, but maybe I'm short-sighted there. I'm not sure. Maybe there should be an effort to revisit some of those folks. And then for some of those that donated last year, but not this year, I will employ our board members to see where relationships might lie. And if not, if the relationship isn't there, I usually tap our board chair or our development committee chair to help with the outreach.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty mixed. I don't know. I feel like what used to work before the pandemic doesn't necessarily work now.
Completely agree. Oh yeah.
And I haven't quite hit that sweet spot to make that pivot or change.
Right. Well, everyone here, we've all figured it out except for you, Corey. I mean, I don't know what your problem is.
That's why I'm here, to learn from you.
Yeah, for sure. Can I just say to all of you that last year was one of the toughest years to raise money that I've ever experienced. And so, like, I completely agree. Corey is like hitting the nail on the head that what used to work like a while ago isn't working now. And so we do have to change our approach. And I'm experiencing that it takes more to close 6- and 7-figure gifts than it ever has in my experience. And so just know that you're not alone. If maybe that's what you're going through too, you're like, wow, oh my gosh, it's taking so much work to just get, and yeah, I think it is. I have where you are, Corey, and your organization, like how big you are and the growth stage that you're at, I would say that you should be churning through new leads pretty quickly. Like if somebody doesn't bite, then let's move on. Let's disqualify them and move them out of your radar, because once you find that person that is all in, it won't feel like dragging somebody along or pushing a boulder up a hill.
Yeah.
You've got to be churning through a lot of leads in order to get to your goal. Like you just don't have a lot of time to waste.
That makes sense.
So, if there's a really wealthy person who has high capacity, but they're not interested, then we have to move on. Like we can't, and so that's a little bit of the position that I'm in, where there's people who I reached out to last year who gave 4 years ago. And they're like, hey, yeah, I'd love to get a meeting. I'd love to hear an update. I get a meeting with them and then they're like, yeah, so I don't really know how much more I can give to you guys. I helped you a lot in the past and like, I'm pretty much toast. So you can keep me updated if you want, but I'm not really going to give, like, this is what I'm willing to do.
Right.
Because I asked, I was like, hey, do you want to be more involved this year? Straight up, or whatever the question might be, that's more clear. Like, what are their intentions and how are they willing to engage? At what capacity?
Sounds like you're saying it's essentially a numbers game, right? It's a volume-based business in that respect.
Well, if you're trying to raise 60 million, I mean, yeah, you're going to be talking to a lot of people. Your volume is way more than somebody who's trying to raise $500,000. Yeah. And it's got to be a team effort. I mean, you got to essentially run your own development shop, and these board members have to be gift officers for you.
That's a good way to look at it.
And whoever is like on your team and is, can really help lift the load, like you need to check in with them regularly. Like think about it like they're your core team and you have to touch base with them. And like somebody's going to be an opener and maybe somebody's going to be a closer and somebody's going to be like a great person for engagement. Like, whatever their strengths are, you need to be able to identify them and then say, hey, I think, Abby, you're really great at introing people and talking about like the mission and what we do. Can you come with me on, that could be part of your strategy, right? Like these 3 people who are board members or volunteers. They don't even have to be board members, right? They could be volunteer donors. Just, they're really great at XYZ thing. And I'm going to ask them if they'll come on 5 meetings with me this year. And all I want them to do is just do what they do best, which is like endorse our organization and talk about why they're involved. They don't need to make the ask. They don't need to make the intro. I will make the intro. I just want them to accompany me on a meeting. Like that could be part of your strategy. And really, like if you're looking to close 6 and 7 figure gifts, frankly, you should be doing a lot of meetings. It's going to take multiple meetings, and you should be doing them with a co-pilot. That's what I'm seeing. And it helps to have it be someone with a title, frankly. So, you know, executive director is a great title because you're the head person. You know, COO, board member, you know, people like that, it just is easier for them to get more meetings. This is in no way meant to get anybody off the hook. Okay, I get a lot of meetings. My title is Senior Philanthropy Officer. But I just have to get better at writing better emails because I'm not COO. Do you see what I'm saying? Corey, I hope this helps you.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for a great question. Can you share why high net worth for visit follow-ups versus emails? I don't think I understand the question, Allison. Rachel, Julie, or others, do you alter your approach when you are working with an institution where the donor houses their DAF or foundation and you don't have direct contact with the donor themselves? Well, yeah, I mean, I think you just answered it. You have to alter your approach because you don't, I mean, reach out to them, find them on social media, try to find them any way you can. But if you can't, move on with your life. I mean, what can you do? If you don't have their contact information, there's no way to find them, then just focus on somebody else who you do have their contact information. Could lab donors be part of that new donor prospect line? Like what kind of trainings new donors? Yeah, you know, Danielle, I think it doesn't matter that much. I think if you like how you categorize people, yeah, you know, you can decide what you want to do with that. Do you have goals for how many meetings you'd like your major gifts committee or board to have or attend with you? I think I answered that. It's really about what you would prefer ideally, and then what they would be willing to do. So you have to pitch them, hey, would you be willing to do this many meetings? This is kind of how I think it would space out, like 5 meetings over the next 6 months or whatever. Like pitch it, and so that it's time bound, and say, you know, they're going to be like 30-minute Zoom calls. Because if they're thinking like, oh, a meeting could be an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, because your meetings are just too damn long. Then they're like, oh crap, I don't want to go on a meeting with this person because their meetings are so long. Okay. More questions. I'm scrolling. How do people decide when to move on? That's great. I think for every person, it's different. All my friends in here know that I'm notorious for saying we give up too quick, right? We should be able to email people like 6 or 7, 8 times. But it just depends on where you are in your organization's growth and where you are as a fundraiser. Like some of you need to practice perseverance, and some of you need to practice moving on and finding new leads. Like, okay, there's no momentum here. Like one way that I decide that is if a donor is opening all of my emails, like if you're not tracking people opening your email, even in Gmail or whatever you're using, you should be doing that. There's free software. Please don't ask me which ones. Just Google it, please. Just there's so many. And you can see your donors opening your emails. You can see how many times they opened it. Like that person, even though they're not replying, they're reading all my stuff. And if they can cut a check for the entire 3 million I'm trying to raise, I'm not going to give up on that person. So I have people like that I'm emailing and I'm like, should I let go of them? Should I not? I'll give it one more shot. For some of you, people have told you like, hey, you can send me whatever, but like, I'm not going to give. Like, you need to just let go of them and find somebody new to focus on. Some of you are focusing on a lot of people who don't care anymore, or they're just not going to give anymore, or not anytime soon. So like, let's stop focusing on those people. Let's stop focusing on 80 bad leads and focus on 10 or 20 really great leads. And that's how you're going to be more likely to get to your goal. Is this helpful? Put helpful in the chat. Like 10 great leads is better than 8 mediocre leads. 80. So your focus is, well, I have all these people and they've given in the past and I have all this contact information, but they're not interested. Like we have to move on. Any other questions about this strategy? If your strategy is longer than a page, please don't do that. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, you see how I have 3 objectives here? Like this is, you need more focus, bring focus, just make a decision, decide, you know what? This is based in theory. I don't know if it's going to work for sure. I don't know for sure. I have a pretty good hunch. I have experience. Experience tells me this is what works. Karen. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Network for Good tracks emails sent from within the donor platform, notes lapsed donors who opened and clicked on something. Yeah, that's great. Danielle, unmute, please. Can you talk more about events, how you use those small referral events?
Yeah, I'm trying to get focused, our event strategies all over the place here. And I'm trying to, I've started initiating, trying to create some small events, like some small dinners with a limited audience. And I'm getting some pushback. So I'm just trying to figure out.
What's the pushback?
Well, there's no budget for that. We just want to focus on big fancy events like galas and soirees. So I'm just trying to do my own thing. And so I guess I just, do you.
Wait, Danielle,
Yeah.
Who is saying the pushback? Is this your boss?
Yeah. But
Okay.
She's my temporary boss and doesn't really get fundraising and she's the CEO.
Yeah. So we don't need to, don't listen to her. Okay. Listen to me. Some of you have bosses who don't know what they're doing. Okay. Right. I mean, we love them. God, please bless them. But they're ignorant, but they talk like they're not. Like some of you have board members who are like that. They're absolutely ignorant, but they talk like they know what they're doing when it comes to fundraising, like they know better than you. And what you have to do is realize that, oh, this is just their like confidence talking. It's not their competence. it's not their expertise. Like they're not an expert here. So take it with a grain of salt. Danielle, and this is my style. Okay. So, I mean, you've been on this path with me before. Look, I just go rogue. I'm like, look, I'm not coming to you to ask for your permission. Like some of you, stop waiting for permission. Stop asking people for permission who are totally ignorant. They're ignorant. You just said she doesn't know this stuff. Okay, let's stop talking to her like she knows this stuff.
She controls the budget, but I think I can maneuver things to make it happen my way.
Well, listen, if there's a donor is there one donor that you like and you hit it off with and you think that they would do this with you?
That's a good thought.
Is there somebody like that?
I'm brand new in this market, but I think I can get there pretty quick. I think I can find someone.
Great. Let's say you're there. Let's say there is somebody. What you need to do is just say, hey, go with this person and say, hey, I really want to do like an experiment where we host like an intimate dinner and just talk about our mission and introduce people to the organization. And, it's not going to be like a fundraising event. There's no pitch. It's just like, hey, if you feel compelled, like come and learn more, get a meeting with me and Danielle, or, like we are looking to build partnerships with people who are really passionate about this work. And if that's you, like, let's talk about how you could be involved. I do events like that all the time. And I teach people like, Claire is here. She does this really well, really well. And she does them once a quarter and they're chef's kiss, flawless. And get this donor to say, like, hey, would you be willing to like something really casual? Like you could host it in your home, invite anybody that you think might be interested in learning more and getting more involved and seeing what you do with the organization. Like they're going to learn more about why you do this. Would you be down to do that with me? Like 12 people max.
Sounds good.
And then, that person, they're hosting it in their home. They're going to foot the bill for it.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, look, like, would you be willing to like host the dinner and provide the food and whatever? Just ask them that.
My colleague who's on this call, Rachel Lee, is always telling me to go rogue, and it goes against my nature. So I'm going to take the advice and go rogue. Thank you.
Yeah. And then what ends up happening is if a donor already agrees to do it, then you bring that to your boss. Yeah, they already agreed. And they're paying for all of it. So have a nice day.
Okay.
I mean, look, results speak, okay? So when you start raising more money because you're going rogue, then you earn more credibility and you earn the right to say, you know what, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
And sometimes bosses and board members, they need reminders of your credentials. Yeah, I've been raising millions of dollars for over a decade. I'm going to do this. Hello. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot. Corey's a baller. Like some of you need to do that. Some of you need to put them in their place a little bit. You need to advocate for yourself internally. These people, they're ignorant. Stop looking to your board just because they come to you so confident. Well, what we need to do is we need to do this. And I'm like, you know what, Bill? How much money have you raised? I'm sorry. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Go rogue. Just do it. they don't have control over what you talk to your donors about. They can't be in every meeting. So you just go and just float the idea. Hey, you know what? Donor person, Iram, what do you think about this idea? Do you think that could work? I'm just thinking, you know, what would be fun? And I think this would be fun, you and I, to do this together. What do you think? Doing like a spring, like intimate dinner, something chill, or it could be a cocktail hour. I mean, it could be whatever. It could be a game night. I don't know what y'all's culture is and your vibe and your donors and what they're into. Maybe they're into bingo. I don't know what they're into. I don't know. Start treating people like they're part of your team. And then the ones who are, they will rise up to that. But some of you, you think you got to do all this on your own. And then guess what? You end up doing it on your own. And then you're bitter and resentful and pissed that you're doing this all on your own. Are you recognizing the cycle? Put recognize in the chat if that's you. Yeah. Any other questions about this strategy, your strategy? I'm going to do a little bit of question and answer right now. So feel free to unmute. Just keep the ground rule that you're going to get to the heart of the matter. Okay, please. I don't want to hear the whole backstory. And honestly, nobody wants to hear it. We love you so much. But if you have a question about strategy, go for it.
I'm in a very small organization. Most of
Hello,
my,
you're Lori. Hi, Lori.
hi. Most of my best donors are monthly givers. And I find it, I'm not sure if I should treat them as major donors because they're the ones that give the most in the year. But then is it okay to ask them for more when they're already giving every month? Yeah, I'd like some help with that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Lori, you're in luck because we have one of the world's foremost experts in monthly donor giving and retention. So my friend Erica happens to be here and she speaks all over about this very topic. And Erica, I don't know if I can coax you to share your insight if you want with Lori.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. That was very generous of you. I put it in the chat, but monthly donors for me have been a huge pipeline for major gifts, and totally understand that worry of going back to them. But I see every appeal as an opportunity to go back to monthly givers to either ask them for a major gift or ask them, you know, for a one-time donation to participate and show their support for something that we're doing. So I think segmenting that communication is really important for a campaign, for a major gift. You're recognizing them as a monthly giver. You're seeing them, seeing their contributions, but then you're also sort of inspiring their evolution, their charitable evolution, and giving them the opportunity to give more. And I have seen a tremendous response to that opportunity. You know, they're totally bought into your mission. So asking them directly to give more, I think, is a no-brainer.
And if someone says, I don't like getting all this communication, you just don't send them stuff.
Yeah, I have not received that communication, because when we're communicating with them, we're reminding them of their impact and they want to hear it. They want to read that. If they don't respond to the appeal or the ask, that's okay. But it's important to see them, to demonstrate their impact as a donor, and then illustrate what it could mean for them to give more. And if they don't respond the first time, I just say, keep going, keep them on your list, keep that as a part of your strategy for different campaigns and appeals.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, thank you, Erica. So Allison asked, can you share your reasoning for sending handwritten notes versus emails after donor visits? Yes, I can, because it's personal, it stands out, and not a lot of people do that. And I think it communicates to the donor that I value your time immensely, not just your money and your donation. That's time that they spent with me that they can't get back. So I like to distinguish myself from everyone else by sending handwritten notes after a meeting, because people don't do that. And why don't they do it? Because they don't have time. But it literally takes 2 minutes. I mean, some of the stuff that's going to raise you more money is not, it can't be automated. It can't be scaled. And that's a good thing. That's what makes you stand out. Maybe a great question to ask yourself is, how can I really stand out? And how can I do that in a way that leverages my personal strengths? Like if you're really great speaking to groups, like your strategy should be speaking to groups. If you're really great one-on-one, your strategy should be more one-on-one. Like leverage what it is that you actually want to do and that you're good at, that you know contributes to raising more. Is this making sense?
Hey, Julie, I have 2 quick questions.
Hi, Nancy, go for it.
The first one is on that handwritten note thing, because I've been struggling with this. About half the time I'm in Peru in the middle of the Amazon. So I have a lot of meetings on Zoom, but I don't have an actual way to follow up with a handwritten note. And I was wondering if you have any other creative ideas. I can have someone else handwrite those notes, but it wouldn't be from me. You know what I mean? Like, so I was trying to think, is there some other thing that would help us stand out, that would be personal, that would be appreciated, that I could do without being in the United States to mail it and have it get to people?
Yeah, there's different companies that will like write the notes for you if you want and then send them. So there's lots of options for how to get around that if you can't do it personally.
So you think that would be like, it would be, because I have board members who could do it, but like it would still be worth it. Okay, okay. The second question I had was about going back to your comments about house parties. I've heard these 2 different things, what you're saying, which really resonates, but also then someone was saying, well, you have a house party like that and you have the host prime to say, okay, I'm writing a check for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever, $1 million, whatever they're writing the check for, who is going to join me? And I was wondering if you could talk about what you thought of the 2 different strategies, or like, is there a time you do one versus the other, or do you always do the strategy you're talking about?
It depends on your goals and it depends on what the donor is willing to do. So I like intimate events to be a referral generator. Like, how am I building the pipeline and meeting new people? So, because again, I'm asking for 6- and 7-figure gifts, and those usually don't happen at events. Like if you're looking to raise, like think about a gala, right? The biggest checks are usually sponsorships, and those are sold ahead of time in one-on-one meetings. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is saying, I'm going to give $1 million in a gala. And that's the first time that they've said they were going to give $1 million. That doesn't happen. You realize that, right? Like the money that's raised at a gala was done before the gala in one-on-one meetings. And then they talk about it like we're fake. We're like, oh, here's my paddle. I'm going to give $500,000. And then we're like, yeah, we already knew that Bob was going to do that. We asked him in advance, but it's meant to generate more money and shake the tree from people who could give 10K or 25K. Iram knows this. He's done galas. That's been a revenue generator for him for many years. Some of y'all need to connect with each other. Like, reach out to Erica, reach out to Iram, reach out to Claire, like all these people, reach out to Corey for how to raise 60 million, you know, like, so intimate events, you have to think about, what is the purpose of this event? What does success look like for myself, for the donor? Yeah, because my plan is, my theory is, if I can just meet more high net worth people, then I can get one-on-one meetings with those people and then propose 6- and 7-figure gifts in one-on-one meetings. It's not happening at events. I use an event again, it's an engagement strategy for current donors. They get to feel good. They get to look good in front of their network. Look at me, I'm this person who does philanthropy and I'm a leader at this organization and I'm telling you about it. I'm awesome. You get to create that moment for one of your loyal donors, which is great. That's a huge win. And then their friends are impressed, right? If you do a good job. So that can be an opener for you to have more meetings with those people, because then you're connecting with them directly. Hey, would love to meet, and continue the conversation. Great. Then there's 5 more meetings with new people that you've got. But if you want to do a fundraising event, like, that's a different thing, right? You can decide how you want to leverage events. I am personally not a huge fundraising event person. I've done them. You know, I did a big gala when I was at United Way, and we had Kerry Washington and Michelle Obama. Okay, it doesn't get better than that. And we had the mayor and everybody in town came to town, and we raised, $1.5 million, even with and we had 1,000 people in the room. I mean, it was bananas. And the 1.5 for all of that work, 1.5. Whereas if I have people in my pipeline who could write a check for 1.5, I would rather meet with that person 3 or 4 times, submit a proposal, and ask for a 7-figure gift than do all of the work associated with putting on a gala for Michelle Obama, even though wouldn't you love to have Michelle Obama? Of course, you would say yes to that. But my point is, you see, we're thinking about, and the reason we do it this way, the reason we do fundraising events based on what I see, is because we're chicken. It's so much easier to ask a company for sponsorships. Here's our dumb little deck that's boring as hell about how you get in front of our mailing list, and you were going to put your corporate logo on the website, blah, blah, blah. Will you give us 20K? That's not how I want to raise money. I mean, what about you? Is that how you want to raise money? Selling sponsorships at an event? I mean, maybe that's great. If that's great, if you love that, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It's not my thing. I could go on, but I'm not gonna. We're gonna move forward. So the next tool that I'm giving you is the monthly donor engagement tracker. We're just gonna go through that really quick. So links in the chat. And I'll share my screen. So this is a tool that you get inside Courage Lab, but you're getting it for free today because I'm a generous person. So this is really great to be able to track. Like, I don't want you to put everybody in here, but your top 20, top 25, who are you going to really focus on? Who are you going to build relationships with? If you're raising $3 million, like these 20 to 25 people are going to get you to probably 2 million or 2.5. Like that's how it works. So you can't open it. It requires permission. Access denied. Ah, crap. I'm sorry. Let me see. Oh, that would be why. Try it now. See if the link works. Sorry, guys. Okay. Thanks. Phew. So what I like to do is identify like, who are my top people going to be? You can plug in here like what they gave in the past, what you're planning to ask them for this year. Again, these are things we cover inside Courage Lab. We don't have time to go into all of it today. Like, how do you decide how much to ask someone for? That's something that you get one-on-one feedback and coaching from me inside Courage Lab. I am not going to cover that today. There is a whole strategy and thinking behind that, right? So these people, these are just examples. So my check-in, like, what is your reason for reaching out to them? These are just touch points. Is it to ask how a project is going, catch up, celebrate a holiday, congratulate them on achievement, they won an award, send them an article that made you think of them, send them a podcast episode? There are endless number of things that don't have to do with asking someone for money that will keep them engaged and your organization and you top of mind for them. So you can plan that out for the whole year here. So you could look back in your CRM and see, you know, how many times did I touch base with Amber Collins last year? How many meetings did I have? Did she come to events? Like, if I was to fill this out, you know, January's over. Okay. So February, let's say that I'm going to do a one-on-one meeting. The purpose is to catch up and share org updates. Like what are our goals for this year, right? And I want to do that by the end, by the end of February. So I need to ask her for a meeting right now to get that scheduled. In March, we're doing we're going to be doing an intimate donor dinner. Is to build relationships, donor engagement. When I say engagement, it's the same thing as stewardship. It's the same thing. That event is going to be on March 23rd. Great. April. What's going to be happening in April? Oh, we have our 5K that we do in April. So I'm going to make sure that I invite Amber to the 5K. And the purpose is raise money and get Amber to invite her friends. In May, what's happening in May? Well, I'm going to email her the results of the 5K. Keep her in the loop and build relationship. In June, I'm going to send her a photo of me on vacation. Fun, friendly, touch base. Okay. Do you get it? Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm not saying that you need to do this for everyone in your portfolio. Again, you need to focus. So decide who you're really going to invest in on a monthly basis. Again, based on your theory and your strategy. If your theory is, here are the top 20 people who are the most interested in our mission, who have been giving the longest or who have the most capacity to give, These are the people I'm really going to double down on and focus on and be planful about my touch points with them this year. And again, it doesn't have to be that's a huge heavy lift. It could be an invite. It could be a, see, I'm putting here, send her a photo of me on vacation. You don't, I'm not saying that you need to do that for all of these people, right? For Freddie, it might be, I'm going to comment on his post on LinkedIn. And some of you are like, oh, this is gross. Or this is weird. This is awkward. Like, oh my gosh, what? It's called intention. You're being intentional. These are the relationships that I want to invest in. And when I invest relational equity in these people, there's going to be a return on that. That's my theory. And it doesn't have to be everything that you do, right? Like the 5K, if you do a 5K, you're not executing on the 5K, like you're just leveraging what's already happening. It could be something that's already happening in the community, like where you live in July, there's a watermelon eating contest. And then the thing is, you're going to say, go with me to the contest. That has nothing to do with your mission. It has nothing, but it's a way to build the relationship. You need to be intentional. It will pay off. If you see like they had a baby, they got a new job, their kid graduated from college, they announced their retirement, like send a nice note with flowers, send some, think about and consider these people, like have them on your mind and on your heart. Okay. Is this helpful? Put helpful in the chat. How much weight or reliance do you put on wealth screening? The right amount. That's not helpful. Yeah, I definitely look at their worth, their net worth, and their capacity. If the space that I'm in is if they have a gift capacity that's lower than $250,000, then I'm not paying attention to them. So, but I'm trying to raise over $3 million and primarily do that through 6 and 7 figure gifts. There are other ways to raise $3 million, but it's just, you're going to need more volume and more leads generated. So I do think about it, but what's more important than gift capacity is their alignment to the mission. If they care, if they're passionate. Some of your major donors are not super wealthy people. They're people that you're overlooking and that you judge them and you think that they can't give more. But you don't know someone's financial situation. You really don't. You really don't. So if someone's super passionate, you can ask them for $10,000 and say, the reason that I'm asking you for this is because of your passion. And they could say, oh, Lorraine, that's really sweet that you think that I could give that much money, or whatever they say. And usually what ends up happening is you learn about their capacity and what they plan to do when you ask. But if we make assumptions ahead of time, it's usually rooted in fear, which is why I created a program called Courage Lab. Melissa, can you give some advice on asking for gifts from people who pay to participate in programming, music and art school here? We found that some get really pissed when we ask for donations when they are already paying us. Great question. We are in the same boat. Claire, do you want to chime in? She's executive director, founder of a youth theater organization and has done a really great job of this. So go for it, Claire.
Yeah, sure. So our situation is that we charge for some things and not others. So we don't ask for donations from the people who are not paying to be a part of our organization. But I don't know, maybe one suggestion might be whenever people opt into your email list, ask them what kind of communication they want. So that they don't get offended if they get asks for donations.
I also would just pipe in that I had this experience with another nonprofit, and I found that if, in addition to paying for their programming, if you're able to ask a button that says, would you like to make a donation? If people make the donation at the time they're signing up for something, which is when they're much more likely than afterwards, it gives you an indication of their interest in doing something like that down the line. So they're a little bit more of a viable prospect.
Yeah, that's a good point. I said that, and it is more nuanced than I first said. So the people who are not paying to be a part of our organization don't receive anything in writing asking for donations, but we do one ask in person at a meeting. And we get donations from that sometimes, but it helps to filter out who has the capacity.
I'm going to encourage you guys to connect offline. So Claire, can you send your contact information, put that in the chat if you want, or message her directly? Great. Everybody says hopeful. So because you joined live, I am doing 20-minute, they're like consultations. So they're free. And if you want to do that, I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can schedule a one-on-one with me today, tomorrow. For some of you, like, you need help assessing what the problems are. So I kind of run these calls like a diagnostic. What is it that's the challenge, the problem to raising more money? And I do questions and asking you to kind of figure out what that is, and then diagnose. Oh, it sounds like you need this. You might need that. These might be some action steps you can take. This is how I would navigate this, and then recommend what to do next. So for some of you, that might be Courage Lab. For some of you, it might be something else entirely. At the very least, you'll walk away with some next steps, hopefully with some insight and clarity and a little bit of guidance. So here is the link for that. There's no pressure. If you want to do that, great. If you don't, all good. I am not going to talk about corporate funding and government and grants and all that, because that's not what I do. I'm not an expert in those things. This is all about major gifts. If you want help with that, there's plenty of experts out there that can help you with that. That's not me. Estate planning fall into my strategy? No, but I will say that I ask for different types of gifts. Like I ask for stock gifts, I ask for profit sharing, and I ask for non-liquid assets when I build relationships with people and I get to know and understand where their wealth is. 90% of wealth is non-liquid. So it's not cash in a bank. But I'm asking for 6- and 7-figure gifts here. So it would make sense that I would need to ask for those types of gifts. If you're asking for 10K, you probably have donors who have 10K in the bank. So it really comes from relationships and knowing your donors. Any other last questions before we wrap up? What's your biggest takeaway from our time together? Put it in the chat. Your biggest takeaway. Be intentional. Focus on 20 people. Energized. Woohoo! That's great. Just do it. Great. Going rogue. Please, yes, don't make it 10 pages. That strategic plan. Oh. People who write 10-page strategic plans, they don't really raise much money. So don't listen to them. Ugh! Oh my gosh, I have seen so many people hire consultants to write them a long ass strategic plan that they do not know how to implement, that it has all these fancy words in it. Anybody else read one of those? And I'm like, we paid how much money for this document? Oh. Okay. Sorry, I'm having fun. It makes me laugh now because I'm moved beyond it. I'm sorry if I'm laughing at your pain, if that's the painful place you're in right now. I don't mean to laugh at your pain. Great. I'm going to put the call link in here. I probably have like 15, 16 spots for those. So grab one if you want. If you want to talk about Courage Lab, if you think that is your next step, you need more strategy, training, courage, accountability. It's all about implementation. And that's what I help you to do. So, and being in a group with your peers, like you can already see that. Many of you have commented on that. Being here with others who are going through what you're going through is really helpful. So you might not just need a strategy, you might also need to be surrounded by peers who are prioritizing a better strategy. Would I be willing to share a participant list of like all the people who came today? I'm going to go with no. Yeah. But please connect with anybody who's in here. I mean, you can see who's here. So thank you, everyone. And yes, I'll send you the recording and I'll send you the links to these templates so that you can use that. Your team can use them if it's helpful. Send it to your boss. Send it to whoever you want. That's great. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope this was good. And I will send you a follow-up email asking for your feedback. I'd love to hear it. How this could be better, how we can improve. I do monthly workshops, so I will be doing one in February. And stay tuned for more on that. Great. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.